Welcome.
Hi, Mike. What is it? Top of the morning? What do you say there?
Well, I think that's Australian, is it? I don't know. Not very many people say it. Most people just say hello or morning. So welcome, everybody. How many have we got? Not too many. Oh, only 3 or 4 of us so far. Oh no, a couple more.
Okay. Do you still hear me? I'm switching to my microphone. Does this work?
Yep, all good.
Nice. Twitter. I still call it Twitter, man. What about you?
Yeah,
Still Twitter to me.
yeah, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
When I
Well,
think of
we can
X, I think of the XTLD.
X.
Yeah,
X. Yeah. When's Elon? When Elon gets .x, right?
yeah, something like that.
It is Friday, the
So
last day of the first month of 2025. How was your January, Nathan?
that was pretty good. Spent most of it just traveling around camping.
Camping in the
Yep.
capital of Australia, Canberra. Is that
Oh,
Canberra?
yeah, there's no camping in Canberra.
Canberra. No
Yeah.
camping there.
Well, you probably could, but it's pretty boring. The only spots really are like maybe 1 or 2 near the river. You could probably camp. There's a little bit of a national parky area, and then that's about it. So nothing worth camping.
All right. Well, that's cool,
How about
man.
you?
Enjoy.
How did you spend
Uh,
January?
well, it's Chinese New Year right now. China is closed down. I mean, I'm not Chinese, as maybe you could assume, but a lot of
Yeah.
business and people I work with. So I had hot pot. We had a big hot pot a couple days ago for Chinese New Year's Eve, and I often say like, finally, it's really the new year, 100% for my world, because both
Yeah.
Western and Chinese have finished their holidays. So I think next week it's gonna get even. I don't know. It's been the craziest busy year for me already, but I think it's gonna get even busier.
Well, it's only just started. Just
It's
wait
true.
until everything picks up,
There you go. There you go. Well, we have a full agenda of topics. I know, we're waiting maybe people coming in, but it's always recorded and shared, of course, on Twitter itself, but I also on Handshake.mastermind. We have archives back to 2021 Clubhouse days. So you can go all the way back on even before Twitter Spaces existed to hear these. Nathan, you want to
Decent
maybe
while.
run down the agenda, or
Sure thing. So we got a couple of project updates, including a few new projects like Linktree app, what was it, Hackbase or Andrew C. In addition to a couple other updates from already released projects like Namebase and iWallet. And if we have time after, we might chat about some hard fork, soft fork proposal that was just in one of the Telegram channels earlier this week.
yeah, I'm reading the agenda too.
I think I got everything, maybe.
Maybe I missed it. I was somewhat distracted, but yeah, the link tree, the Learn HNS, Detox, name-based updates by Alex, and then probably the juicy stuff that everybody loves, I think. But I think we'll do that. Those might be shorter, and then we can get into the fork discussion again. I think you and I have been seeing
Yeah.
some groups, so I don't know how much time those could go on for hours, but I think it's fair to give some updates on those. And then HandyCon, of
Yep.
course, is a month and a half away, less than a month, just 5 weeks away. So HandyCon, Flamingo Handshake auction updates, I think, at the very end to wrap up. So
Sounds good.
Linktree, yeah, update those that don't know. And if Anne is always in the background here, she's welcome to speak. Also, Alex is up as speaker. Alex can also pop in. I think he'll cover the name-based side, but can also share.
Yep.
But then maybe your Firewall at first, right? Firewall, do you want to just give a more clear, update of what's been happening?
Yep. So I'm currently just revamping it, making so it's a bit smoother for having the user-written plugins. So it's a lot easier to add extra functions to the wallet. I've written a plugin for some more advanced batching of transactions. So, for example, you can open, say, 500 domains at once for auction or send, 200 bids. In addition, I'm currently working on, I'm not sure if it'll be actually able to be done, but on a new atomic swap based marketplace for self-custody domains. So
Nice.
it'll allow you to have a domain in Bob or in Firewallet, and then you can sell that domain without it ever leaving your custody until somebody has bought it. So that's a competitor to, the Namebase or to ShakeStation listings.
Is it using the tech of I even forgot the name now, ShakeDex, I believe?
Yeah. So it's using ShakeDex as the process, but I'm planning on doing it so it doesn't have the same auction system. So rather than the price slowly declining, how ShakeDex works, it'll just be a stable price.
Okay. So if I could, I think, which is great, you're more technical, I think, than me, and I think maybe more people are less technical like me. So I'm just firewallet.au is the DNS. You also have Firewallet on Handshake. I'm on there right now. It seems like for me as a Mac user, might not be able to plug and play. It seems like it's a Windows desktop app, and
I need
currently
to remove that one. It should only be the Python one now.
Oh,
I've updated the website. So Python should run on Mac.
Okay, I'm clicking into the GitHub. Again, this feels like it was always my quote unquote job at, as Sky Include channel is. I'm not as technical here, so I feel like I have to go into my command prompt and run HSD. I don't know. Maybe we could have this as a topic.
So it does.
I'm looking at this, and
I'll probably create a couple of video tutorials of installing it and setup to make it a bit easier for people.
Yeah, that might be helpful, or we could even do it at HandyCon, maybe.
Could do. Knowing my luck, my internet will be super slow and it'll be a pain to download.
Okay. So you need to download the HSD full node or something?
It should be able to hook into an existing full node. So if you've already got Bob installed, you won't need to run and sync again.
So for me,
then it'll just.
I have Bob, but I got the SPV because it crashed. It was trying to sync to my Mac Air and overfill my hard drive. So I think
SPV should work fine.
Okay, SPV. So just those that don't know, SPV is like I forget what it stands for. Basically, you don't have to download the whole node.
Simplified payment verification, I think it is. Basically, it doesn't fully verify everything, but it's good enough that it's, for all intents and purposes, it's still secure.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Yeah, we do need to get more exposure for Firewallet. You've had it for a while. I should use it and learn it. I have to admit, sorry, I haven't, but
that's all good. How about you wait like a month? Because I'm pushing a ton of updates at the moment. So unless you want to continually update, it'll be easier just to wait a little bit.
So maybe target HandyCon. That's always one of our goals, to have the community have their latest releases ready by HandyCon. So that's a goal if you want to accept that target.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it's what we should do it. What we do here is all the startups and the builders are targeting to have as much of a big of a release as possible for HandyCon, which is cool. It's our fifth one, so maybe that's a good goal. I can learn it. Maybe even live demo it at HandyCon with your updates.
Should be able to. Cool. Let's have a look at dprofile. So that's a Linktree style application by Hackbase or Andrew C. Have we pinned it? Yeah, we have. Cool. So yeah, it's a very unique project in the way that it doesn't actually use your domain, as far as I know. So it will be hosted on dprofile.hns.2 or just dprofile if you have a handshake resolver. And then you can have your subdomain. So for example, woodburn.dprofile, and then dprofile will then use the DNS records on Woodburn to create the link tree. So it's quite interesting. It's a little bit complex to explain. Not sure if that really worked, but
I think it's somewhat clear. I've been following the comments, and I've been there's a private Twitter group, or not private, but a Twitter DM community people can join. I'm not sure how easily people can join that, but I've seen some activity of questions and answers. But I feel like the comments, I don't know if you have an answer, but it seems like a lot, of course, handshakers, we're all have our own domains. And so I think in this case, you would need to use dprofile TLD, right, for your profile. There's no way to map it to
that's what he's done now. I'm not sure if that's going to be his plan for the entire future, or if he's going to provide a method where you can host it yourself. it's just a little bit easier at the moment just to have it running on his TLD because he doesn't need to worry about DNS, A records or TLSA, HTTPS certificates and all that.
Okay.
But
Noted.
not sure. He might decide to update it later.
Okay.
If not, we can always fork it. The code's public, so you can always just copy it and update.
True. So if I could just also say then, and also anybody can, please, we welcome anybody to come up on stage to share. We're just kind of going through some project updates. What's how can people find this? I mean, I'm asking Anne and DM too. Like, what's the link?
So you can just go to dprofile or dprofile.hns.2, and I'm pretty sure that should redirect. Let me just double check. Dprofile. I'm pretty sure it should redirect to the information for how to create your profile. Oh, maybe not. Oh, it said. Okay, let me just double check because I haven't actually checked in a little bit. Okay, so he's got information on Git repository. I don't want that one. I want the documentation. So you can go to dprofile.hns.2/pre. I will just copy that link for you.
Okay.
There we go. So that has a list of basically just the documentation of how to set up your profile. The link should just be in the Spaces comments or replies.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just trying to make sure we want to shout out projects and make it easy for people to find. So Anne is pinning this. You're on the live spaces now. You can find these various pins of these projects. I'm just trying to make sure we make it easy to find. I think the beautiful thing about Handshake is it is truly decentralized community, but it's hard for me to keep track of the projects and how to find these links. So.
Yep.
dprofile.hns.2. So it's truly like only on Handshake. The hns.2 is just a way to access it without a resolver of Handshake. So dprofile.
Yep.
Cool. That's awesome. Okay. And /prefix. I'm trying it right now. dprofile.hns.2/prefix.
Yep. And that should just show you a list of different, the setup method and how you can customize your profile.
Cool. Yeah. I see it. It's opening up. Of course, you don't need the .hns.2 if you have an HNS resolver, which we do always encourage people to use. HNS2 is a good service, but it's kind of a hack and not fully as secure as the true native HNS resolvers. But of course, it's an easy way. So you don't need the HNS.2 if you have a HNS resolver. Cool, man. I've seen him talking about it, and I talked to Andrew too in DM a bit, but it's great to see it coming to life.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have a profile, Nathan, or is there somebody's that we can show?
I do. You can have a look at dso.dprofile. DSO.
What's the DSO?
It was just the first domain on my list of domains, probably because it was the most recently updated.
Okay, yeah, I see it. So if people put it in dso.dprofile on HNS, or if you could still append the hns.2, but it will give you an SSL warning, which is at least for me. But you could do it with HNS.
It hasn't given me any SSL warning.
Sure, maybe it's because mine has a forced HTTPS.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do it.
Mine's forcing it, so it's saying not secure.
Yep.
Awesome, but yeah, it's nice. Is that in your background? Is that Australia there? Okay.
Let me think. I think that might be Vietnam. Can't remember.
Cool.
It was just a random photo from my backgrounds folder.
Awesome. All right. So we got through your firewall and the Linktree D profile by Andrew C. And he's, in Europe. I know it's so late for Europeans, and we have quite a few European-based handshakers, but so we're representing him. Third on the list is learnhns.com that I see. This is still progress, but the Sky Include team picked it up. It had not been maintained, so we are investing in rebuilding that. I think, Anne, I don't know if Anne wants to say something about it. I encourage it. Anne's behind the scenes. She doesn't have to be so behind the scenes. Anne, you able to say something? Or I could.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. And someone has to be behind. All right. Yeah. So we're currently building the website. We're making sure that all of the task pages are in there, and we're optimizing, of course, so that we get more exposure. Also, we want the community. I think that was the number one goal that we decided to invest on learnhns.com so that the community would be able to contribute anytime to, like if they have new projects that they would like to announce, or yeah, just any form of discussion apart from GitHub. So yeah, it's like a community pot. How can I say, like melting pot? Yeah, for
Yeah,
yeah. So it's like
I guess you could
wiki
say
in a
it's like a
way.
wiki, but
Yeah, like a wiki.
I mean, I know Nathan does great with the Handshake Wiki, but the idea is not really as much of a wiki as it's just like an easy way to just like resources, links. If somebody in the community has something that they found or made, like a tutorial, I mean, that's what it was before. It's not as formal as a full wiki, but it's kind of just a easy way.
Correct. Right.
If somebody in the community has something Handshake related, we can put it there. Plus, it was like one of the classic original sites of HNS, so it should live on.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, that was a quicker one. Thanks, Ann.
You're welcome.
And what is next?
We got .detox domains.
Detox, and again, detox. Are you detoxing, Ann?
Yeah, maybe Nathan can help us. So it's good to know that our code directors in Africa have some projects still running. That is very good news. So we have 9JA Cosmos, headed by John or founded by John. And he recently put up a store page for .detox with the help of Nathan. Is it right? Did I say it right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
all right.
Well, I
So
think it's technically with a zero instead of an O. I'm looking at the pinned tweet.
Yeah, so the idea
Right.
is it's got a little bit of the Ethereum sort of, OX for hexadecimal.
Got it. So I'm reading a tweet. We have a .detox DET0X domain shopping page, prices from $1. MetaMask Snap, just one click install. Get your detox name as a proxy for sending assets to the wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes, and you can also get a detox tokenized art. It's on OpenSea. So John features some of them every day. Yep. Yep.
Is
So
there an easy link you could just shout out on the audio for those listening to find it or find more? Where would they get this?
Go to detox but with an O instead of a zero.
Good.
So it was 9jacosmos.com. And that should then go to the store page to detox domains. I'll just send it in the chat again in the Twitter replies. So all of you don't have to try to type in.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, I mean, I typed it manually. I mean, I'm just doing it for the audio, but also just listeners here. I know there's pinned tweets and threads, but I think if it's in the actual audio, it's just easier.
Yeah.
Own your .detox decentralized domains for websites. Well, it's cool. It's like a dedicated. I thought it was gonna be a redirect, but yeah, it's fully built out with a search.
Using the same process as .wallet domains. So if you go to wallet.id, it's the same sort of thing, but for .wallet. So at the moment, he's also giving away as ancestors, I think he calls them, NFTs. So if you buy a domain, doesn't matter the price. I think it's one per address. So if you buy 10 domains, you only get one NFT, but he'll just send you an NFT.
Cool.
And,
yeah.
They look all right.
OpenSync link. Yeah, I see the OpenSync link in that footer of the detox.9jacosmos.com. Yeah, I see the link. There's a LinkedIn. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool. So for $1 a domain, you would also get an NFT. I think he's just probably gonna manually push it to your Ethereum address.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the collection. It's pretty cool art too.
Yep.
Great. So that's a nice one. Thanks, and I think the last not last, but of course not least, is Namebase updates. And I see Namebase Twitter account here, so maybe they can give us some updates on what's been happening at Namebase.
Are you there?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah. Alex,
Yeah.
awesome.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Yeah, I'm here to share some name-based updates with everybody. And what better way to do that but with the name-based account? So trying to start using it more for everybody and also for more visibility to the space because I believe it deserves it as well. Yeah, in regards to Namebase, I have two, no, maybe three updates I would like to share. One regarding HNS and other regarding Namebase.io. So I'll start with the HNS. And thank you, John, for creating the initiative for the .detox domain. It's always a pleasure to see TLD owners use the .wallet template that we created, and also Nathan is always helpful with in the community and also at Namebase to make things happen. So thank you, Nathan. In regards to HNS, we are currently working on allowing users to buy domains, HNS domains with fiat currency, and also basically cross-chain payments as well. What does this mean? This means that if you have, for example, a Phantom wallet, use your Phantom wallet to buy domains. And also we will be accepting Ethereum main, obviously Optimism, Polygon, Arbitrum, and also Base to buy HNS domains. So this is one of the things we have been working on to try to get more people, or at least to try to get an easier onboard to HNS domains, people that are within the crypto community, but not specifically in Handshake, but also that do not have crypto, but would like to get into the Handshake ecosystem and pay with their Visa, PayPal, etc. So this is something that we're working on, planning on shipping it as soon as possible. I guess it's the most correct way to say it. I was gonna say Q2, but probably it might be sooner than
Nice.
that. Yeah, it's exciting for sure.
Yeah. Is there also any updates for wrapped HNS?
So wrapped HNS is being developed. Wrapped HNS, sorry, tongue twister. Wrapped HNS is basically done. We're on the final testing, adjustments, debugging phases. We want to make it easy to buy HNS with Optimism, so Optimism Ether. And the goal is for people to be able to buy wrapped HNS through Uniswap and deposit that wrapped HNS on Namebase and have it convert to HNS asynchronously. So that's the goal, making it easier or give other options to buy HNS and without just being Bitcoin. So we are currently in the, I would say we're testing it, seeing how we can improve the experience for all of you, and it's something that we're carefully testing. So I won't give out a date for that just yet, but we want to make sure that it works perfectly so it's the easiest UX for people to buy and use wrapped HNS.
Sounds cool. So it's on Optimism, which means, for example, I can have somebody send me wrapped HNS to woodburn.hns, and then I can then send it to my Namebase account.
Not exactly. It means that if you can own wrapped HNS on your MetaMask, for example, and you can transfer within non-custodial wallets.
And then I can send it to when I want to unwrap it. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Another thing that we have going on is we're currently in the talks with MetaMask to go on a Twitter space or X space, whatever you want to call it, to talk about HNS with MetaMask on Twitter. So that's an exciting event, and to get new users into the Handshake and HNS ecosystem. And in regards to Namebase, We're really excited and almost ready to launch our new SLD registrar. So basically, it's the same system that you see on Porkman and Namecheap to buy staked TLDs, but the goal is we accept all staked TLDs. So giving an opportunity for all TLD owners that stake their TLD to promote and sell SLDs through the name-based registrar. And we will be accepting HNS exclusively as the payment method to get more blockchain usage, basically. And this is coming really, really soon.
Lots of updates there. Yeah. Maybe HandyCon can have some announcements too. We're always excited for releases then, which is coming quick. I don't know what we could get by then, but it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully some of the things will be shipped.
Yeah, so HandyCon is interesting because it's always like, I would say, a milestone for us to release new features during the event or right before the event starts. So yeah, Handy is a good push for us to get things out there.
Great. Yeah. Also on HNSID, we, at our startup Hamza.market, I know some of you are supporting there too. We have HNSID integration, so anybody using those and can map your HNS name on HNSID to it, and it shows on your profile picture, shows on your name instead of your wallet address, and we're adding more utility for that. So it's pretty cool to see it go multi-chain, which also Hamza's going multi-chain too in EVM, like you said, Arbitrum. Base is very hot, as a lot of you know, Polygon, which is awesome. Really cool to see HNSID moving to multi-chain too.
That's amazing to hear, and thank you for using HNSID. It's always good to partner with you guys and help out whenever we can.
For sure.
Just a small update. We are also almost releasing our new landing page for Namebase finally.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so this new landing page will have a way better design, I believe, and it will be more focused on what we do and what services we provide. So it's easier for everybody to understand what Namebase is doing exactly. So I'm very excited to share that with all of you once it's live.
Nice. I'm seeing some new people come into the chats. Some might not be familiar with what we're all talking about, but yeah, it's .io, namebase.io is going to become, it's been the leader of buying Handshake or knowing names in the second place. Sorry, my brain is crisscrossed. On the secondary market, as well as, of course, using it for easy ways to open auctions and bid on auctions for Handshake TLDs. And HNS.id is a way for people to buy second level domains, or I guess what people call normal in the Web 2 world, using Optimism L2 of Ethereum, and as Alex just said, moving to multi-chain within the EVM ecosystem fairly soon, which is exciting, and many other things happening. So it's and I can't wait to see a new landing page, homepage for namebase.io. I think that one's been there for years now. So I know there's been so much updates, and I can't wait to see a new homepage.
Yeah, it's very exciting for sure. The easiest way to describe Namebase is it's basically that we make it easy to buy, sell, and manage your Handshake assets, whether it's a TLD, SLD, or an HNSID domain. So that's basically it. And obviously the three main products I would say are our marketplace, our Handshake auctions, and the ability to stake your top level domain, allowing Handshake TLD owners to monetize on their top level domains through our registry. So those are the main products, I would say.
Nice. Yeah, the staking name-based registry, HNSID, it's kind of like two products, right? I mean, there has been questions or discussions about somewhat maybe creating those, or am I wrong to say that? But their name-based registry is technically separate than HNSID? Or is it the same?
Not really. It's the best way to describe it is that the namebase registry will allow users to stake their top level domains for let's SLDs, regular SLDs, so Namecheap, Pork1, and Circa. So you can sell your SLDs through those partner registrars, but it also allows you to stake your top level domain and sell it through our web registrar, which is HNS ID. So the namebase registry works for both the Web3 SLDs and the regular SLDs.
Okay. So the way I kind of think about it is like, I know even I'm still learning registry or registrar, registrant. So namebase registry is the base of both the Web2 is the word, registrars, such as, of course, Namecheap and Porkbun and Circa, but it's also got the Web3 registrar HNS ID, and both are connected to HNS, our name-based registry.
Exactly. So the partners officially will be Namecheap, Porkbun, and Circa, HNS ID, and the name-based registrar, which is a partner of the registry as well.
Got it.
And if everybody votes for Handshake on Spaceship, maybe Spaceship.
Yeah, we got to shout that out. Yeah, we didn't talk about that, Nathan. And should tweet to pin that. But yeah, it's a good point. Since you brought it up, do you want to explain that one?
Spaceship?
Well, I could say it more quick. Basically, spaceship.com is another registrar from Namecheap. Although I'm so curious why that is done. But obviously, the domain and the product is amazing. It's completely different than Namecheap, which is, of course, the biggest brand in the Namecheap portfolio of products. But Spaceship, that's what, a year old now? A year,
maybe a bit more, a year and a half, almost 2 years old.
Seems like it's doing really well. I mean, I use it's super slick. Traditional Web 2 registrar to buy domains, which is very attractive prices. But there's, of course, feature requests, right? So a lot of handshakers saying when HNS, when So it's been a feature request that's been upvoted quite a bit, and if it's free to do, right? So if somebody here could upvote it, if we could pin that in, there's a tweet, or if there an easy link I could shout out on the audio. How would people find it if they're listening?
Let me check.
It's a feature request inside Spaceship to have Handshake support, and it's been getting high. It's actually, what is the second highest voted now, if I recall?
I'm not sure. I'll share the link within, but it's basically spaceship.com/roadmap, and you can go to that link and vote it up for sure.
Great.
Also, another interesting product that came out of that was obviously Thunderbolt.com, which is being developed for the public beta. So there is a private beta, but the public beta hasn't been officially announced. And we have been working with Spaceship to test the features and give some suggestions. So that's always interesting to share an experience. So it will be pretty awesome. Hopefully the Handshake community will move from Telegram to Thunderbolt full time.
I've done some test calls and I've been playing around with it. It's definitely superior to a lot of chat apps like Telegram, and of course people can use their Handshake name. I always think of Godfather Raul. He's very active on Twitter, always supporting Handshake, and he's on there at Godfather. So there's some cool. Can we make groups on Thunderbolt?
You'll be able to do groups on Thunderbolt, and those groups can have a mix of domain types. So it will be interesting to see, because it does accept like ICANN domains, ENS domains, and also Handshake,
which is so cool. Like that you can use your TLD as your user ID in Thunderbolt, whereas others, as it grows, will use their like like even Flex, Massive Flex is like firstname.com, right? Which is obviously, I wish I had a firstname.com, but I don't have. But I mean, that's still gonna be cool. But imagine chatting to like somebody versus like just the TL, just the name, right, in Thunderbolt, which you can only do if you have a Handshake name. Which if you do have a first name in Handshake, you just use your first name as your user ID in Thunderbolt, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
So if you give it a try, feel free to send me a message, Nathan.Woodburn. Even better than just first name. We've got first and last.
I have to get, the reason I'm not saying mine is I'm having trouble with Bob Wallet, and then it works for Namebase, but the name I want, I have names in Namebase, but not ones I'd really want to use like publicly. I'm trying to figure out the best way to use, where I should have it, or let's say I've been getting rocked up a little bit because Varo domains, I think he's been upgrading it, but I have a lot of stuff in Varo and I don't know how to update DNS in there right now, or last I checked. So I'm kind of getting rocked up in some of my own technical setups of DNS lately, but I don't want to like harp on it too much.
If you need a registry, well, a name, so you can have a look at domains.hns.au. That's one that I run. So if it goes down, so
Okay. I don't think the back end is down. I just couldn't go into the front end to update my settings lately. I don't know if it's still been like that, but I don't want to. I don't want to highlight some.
that's all good.
So whatever you call it.
So, did we want to talk about Flamingo?
There's some quick something I just wanted to shout out is the whole of course we're all excited about the Trump. Well, I don't know if we all are excited about Trump, but I think in crypto, the Trump hump or whatever you want to call it. But there's also been this narrative about USA crypto. So some people in the community are reminding me Handshake is American-made crypto. So that if there's any of these benefits, I haven't followed it. There's so many updates lately with Trump, but if there's any incentives or benefits for quote unquote made in USA crypto, Handshake should qualify. I mean, it was made in USA. So I don't know if that's something to talk about or at least an announcement or a thought. I don't think Nathan you had something to add to that, but I thought it would be something kind of add into this list. I think we should also, if anybody sees made in USA crypto benefits, it should be pretty clear Handshake was American made crypto. So that's just one I thought I wanted to add.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to all work. Does the tax benefit work for like domain reselling? What about domain reselling on hns.id? Because it uses both chains.
Well, I think most crypto is, I don't want to call it coins, but most crypto is no utility. So I don't know about the utility of it, but the buying and selling of it could be tax free. And maybe
the capital gains at least.
So again, nobody knows what's happening or gonna happen, but I guess I could see it maybe that there's no capital gains tax on buying selling Handshake because it's made in America potentially. So maybe exchanges might support it more versus those that were made outside of the U.S. So maybe these exchanges that have been resisting or ignoring Handshake might have more incentives to pay attention to it because it's in this made in America category.
Yeah.
Maybe. Again, we're early and it's just a bullet.
It's all speculation, but
just like get it. I just want to get it out there so people, if they're speaking to people and this Made in America crypto thing is becoming a thing, I think we should always try to bring up that it's Handshake is American made, depending on how you qualify it. But I and others I've spoken to feel like it would qualify. So it's, I think, a good thing, but we don't know what it exactly means.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to squeeze in those. Maybe we can also talk about HandyCon Flamingo, and then we can go into this fork. I don't know how much time you want to budget on that.
Wait until after the HandyCon and Flamingo updates, because it usually goes a long time.
There's a HandyCon update.
Yeah, so like you guys said, it's already 5 weeks away. We already have a good number of speakers on the list that we will be posting by next week. For others here listening, the other OGs here listening, please check your spam emails. Maybe my invitation goes to your spam. We're also reaching out to the HNS or Handshake investors. Maybe they would like to participate. We also have a couple of big names on the list suggested by the community, recommended by the community. Hopefully we have some positive feedback. We have a lot of returnees from Handicon Red, Handicon 2024. For example, like Mass Browser, Margie Feng is also joining because our theme is revolving around privacy and security. And so many updates. And of course, will be divided somehow into three parts as always. So we have like the domainer sessions or domain sessions, and then we also have the project demos, name-based HNS ID. They have already shared what they're going to demo by then. So we also have the new faces or new people joining us by then. And shout out to our sponsors, our very first one, Handshake Australia, of course, Erwin, Mix Machine, and Decentralizers, by the way, Santiago are co-hosting HandyCon. And be on the Road to HandyCon. These are like short videos featuring speakers and also projects. What else? And also shout out to Foundation and .x for sponsoring this year's HandyCon. Did I miss anything? Yeah,
I mean, I have
just
some. I mean, I see
yeah.
some people in this spaces that I think we should make sure we invite or know they're invited. Like I see Todd Ryan from ABC
Right.
Productions,
ABC Vincent Paul. Yes.
Paul are great. I mean, I don't know if
Oh,
they've yet.
oh,
Uh,
so they're guy. Yes, to the OGs. So I'll be reaching out to you tomorrow. Scott is also joining.
nice.
Yeah. So this is well, yeah, we're excited to have everyone on stage this time. So the website is 2025.handicon.xyz. Also, there will be more updates on the website. Also, I would like everybody, I just want to give everyone a heads up that we are going to be moving to another event platform. I think this is a necessity to announce. So we are going to move to another platform, but we will also be sending everyone instructions on like how to register, how to connect. Yeah. So yeah, basically that's it for HandyCon Flamingo Handshake. We have an interesting portfolio of domains, and yeah, as usual, yeah, well, we're gonna make it fun, and be on the lookout as well. Oh, how can I say? I'm hoping that we can get those single emojis. Mike, can we get a single letter? Just kidding.
.x.
Basically, yeah, there are some. I don't think it's been fully confirmed. The list we should confirm that and promote it.
Yeah.
But as you
Yes.
mentioned, there's a premium. There's premium emojis in there, so we have a premium emoji. Single letters is very hard. It's, as you know, there's only so many in the world in the alphabet. So I don't know if we have a single letter confirmed. And then there are some really good words that are being discussed. I think we're now 5 weeks out. I think you said next week we're going to start to announce speakers. We're going to start to announce maybe the auction names. So, like, this is the week or the next few days. If you're not yet included, don't feel like we don't like you. We welcome everyone. Maybe Anne or I haven't reached out specifically, but of course you can reach out. What's the best way? And we welcome all. I mean, we can't guarantee everyone's going to speak, but where's the best place for somebody that is interested to share to go?
Yes, the best way to reach us or the team is via Twitter, which is at HandshakeCon. HandshakeCon, and then they can also email us. The address is connect@handycon.xyz, and we're also on Telegram.
I think the other one is there's a form. If people prefer a form, there's handycon.xyz/speaker. I hope it
Right,
works, but we've
right.
that
Yeah, I'm adding
that
it. Yes.
that makes it easier. There's a form you can upload your, tell us about yourself, your project, and what you'd like to share, and it makes it easier for us to manage that. So of course they can contact on Twitter, Telegram, email, but I think the form handycon.xyz/speaker should be, in my opinion, sorry, it should be the first place people go, because then it's like a very clear application of what we know you want to do.
Yeah, I'm adding the link to the comments. Correct. Yeah. And also for the domains, flamingohandshake.com/submit. That one still works. So,
Great. All right. So that's some updates. So basically, it seems like we're in the 5 weeks to go. We'll be announcing speakers and auctions in 4 weeks mark. And our last been worked. Yeah, the website's 2020 is a subdomain. Some people say it's not so cool, but we do a subdomain for each year. So 2025.handycon.xyz. It's a lander. It doesn't have yet speakers or topics yet, but that will be hopefully coming in a week or so. And of course, and the team will be sharing that on socials and emails once that's released. Cool. Is that all in or?
Yes, that's it for now. Thanks,
So
everybody.
we basically 1 hour mark, but I think we're leaving a bigger topic that always is fun is, forks, which has still been brought up actively even the last few hours. Like, I've been chats about it. Nathan, do you want to lead us on this?
Sure, just a very brief overview of what the whole fork situation is. At the moment, well, Handshake originally it was coded so that the domains were only domains such as or the Alexa top 100K were only claimable for 4 years. We pushed a soft fork so that rather than the domain available for general auction, they were locked up permanently. So the hard fork is proposing to allow the ICANN owners to be able to claim them again. The fork also proposes to burn the associated claim reward. So, for example, IO would be like 100,000 Handshake or something like that, and then smaller domains claim less. That is proposed to be burnt so that it removes the supply from the inflation. I think also proposes to burn the developer airdrops. Handshake has allowed developers who, before Handshake was created, had 20 followers and I can't remember what other requirements, but developers
I think it was, I think it was maybe just that and an active profile, maybe a project, but a snapshot was like 2019 sometime.
Yeah, so developers that satisfied that are able to claim an airdrop of, I can't remember how much, it might be 5,000 HNS. That hasn't really seen any claims in, well, I haven't seen any in the last year, but the idea is if we stop that process, then it also removes about, I think it's 40% of the total supply of Handshake is airdrops. So it'll stop that from being created. And that'll just make the total supply a fixed number. So it's not going to be affected by airdrop claims or domain claims. So that's the proposal in a nutshell. Does that make sense?
I don't know if Anne's got requests from stage, but people can, of course, come up on stage. But I had some heat, this has been a heated topic over the years. And the point is, nothing has still really been done on this. So almost a year ago, right, actually, was the soft fork for the releasing of the Alexa 100K minus the 10K or 1K that you just mentioned that are locked permanently. So I think it's like you said, there's three major sections of what is being proposed, which would be you had just said. I'm just going to kind of go back and just bullet point read. Of course, everybody's always excited about the burning of the airdrop, and there's excitement both ways. But I think most people are agreeing to make the reserved TLDs claimable again. And then there's the extra records on chain, which is almost very easy, right? Or not say easy. I don't want it, but I've heard from various people.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Because at the moment we have, basically there's not really any validation for domain records. So there isn't any, domain records can be basically a bunch of garbled mess and it's still able to on chain. So we can create a standard for saying this means an A record. And it should be pretty easy to then go, once we agree on that standard, to then just push it to the Handshake code to say, if you see this standard, treat it like an A record. And that's about all we need to do.
Yep. Yeah, I think some people, I named that record, record.skycode.com. But I think, I don't know, I haven't seen anybody really against that. The only thought is some people, I don't know how much you follow the ordinals and Bitcoin, but there's some people that it might make it a little bit more heavy on chain because that means more data would be put on the Handshake blockchain. But I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but I think more is good right now. I don't know. There's not a lot of activity.
Well, it'll take a little bit longer to sync, and a little bit larger sync. So, for example, at the moment, a full HSD, like a full handshake net blockchain load that you use for HSD or Bob, it takes up about 100 gigabytes, maybe 150 if you do some indexing. So that was without any A records. So that's just with records, DS records, and usually TXT. Often not, but not very many records on domains, and most domains don't have any records. Actually, no, name base. Most domains have the name base default records. So if people add A records, it could, I mean, I don't see very many Handshake domains actually being used for websites. So I would probably say it's not actually going to change the size much. But if we see, even 10% of domains add this, I'd reckon an extra, 50 gigabytes of storage.
I don't know.
Probably not,
I guess
but yeah.
I know others that are very excited about. I mean, yeah. So that's
It
the
should
argument
be fine.
against. That's basically. I think it's just fair to give people both sides of the decision. But I don't think there's been that many. I don't think anybody's really said it's a problem. But that is something to
No,
consider.
it shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't be a problem. But I just want. I try my best to be somewhat neutral. But I guess the one negative of the on-chain records is it would make the, like I even just said, I don't have it on my Mac because it's too big. I used to have it on my Mac back earlier, but it just takes up too much space on my hard drive to have a full node. So that would just make the nodes bigger. But I think I'm very excited about it because then what you just said, not many have web. It's so easy. I just put an A record, like an IP address to my TLD. I can then just host, like we talked about Andrew's link tree or the D profile.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you wouldn't need that, but technically I could just set my own.
Also you'd want A records, quad A records for IPv6. I want TLSA records. And I think that's probably all we really need at the moment. Maybe CNAME, probably not, because I don't think with this proposal will add any subdomains on chain. It's only going to be the root domain.
We could discuss. I mean, I don't. That's a good point. But I don't know if it's just you and I talking. I don't know if anyone has a question or an idea, but I like the idea. Well, of course, I was part of making the proposal. So Nathan, you want to? So you're suggesting, at least I don't have spaces yet, to make these 3 separate forks and proposals, right? Instead of one proposal.
I'm just thinking from the sake of a lot easier to do a small change than a big change. So it's also a lot easier, I think, to get community approval for a smaller change. So I think it's a lot easier for us to say, get the community to vote on, for example, bowing claims, or even just burning the claim amount, than to say approve for burning the claim, allowing domain claims, and also burning the airdrop. Like all that in one is less likely, I think, to the community to approve just straight out, because there's more to discuss, more for more small issues to pick up on. Whereas if it's split into smaller things, people will still have issues, but only have issues with that one fork part. So it's a lot easier than edit that afterwards, as we're doing that one little fork, edit just that one change.
Yes, my question to you, because I look even more technical, is there a specific order? Does it matter the order of the 3 or not technically?
Well, I mean, kinda. So for example, the claim, the domain claims, we would probably want to do that. I'm guessing that fork will probably want to be both enable claims and, while we're enabling the claims, don't give out the claim reward. That'll be together. But other than that, other forks shouldn't have any effect the order of them.
Okay.
That I know of. I don't think the developer airdrop is the domain airdrop claim time. So changing that shouldn't affect their developer airdrop at all.
So if I could just say it, it's probably easiest and best to do first the make reserve TLD claimable again permanently and burn the airdrop connected to the reserve names.
I would say, that one's probably the best thing to do, just because it is well, I see it as more important for the chain, but it also is the bigger of the changes.
I don't want to put you on
So-
the spot. Maybe you remember, but I saw somebody talking about it on Twitter recently, looking for a TLD, and somebody says that's the one of those locked forever TLDs. If I
Yeah,
recall. Remember
they were
that one?
looking for.
Can't remember the name. So if I mean,
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But if this was in effect, they would have been able to get it, but they weren't probably.
Only the ICANN equivalent, which I don't think the ICANN equivalent owner was looking for it. I think it was just
So
a
this would
community member.
Not just, but this would allow ICANN TLD owners to
Yes,
claim
to
them
claim.
now instead of being currently locked forever.
Yes. So basically, instead of being locked forever, it's going to change them to be claimable forever. Or if we really want to, well, forever, I know it sounds like a scary thing, forever until we change the rule. Forever.
Okay.
So they're locked forever until we change the rules to say we unlock them.
Okay. So just to kind of move this ahead, and again, we welcome people on stage, and the host, she can allow people, if there's requests, to raise hands, ask questions. We welcome it. But I think we can cover those two, right? We covered the on-records, on-chain, pro and con. I guess what is the pro and the con of this TLD claimable again by ICANN TLD owners? I guess the con is the cost and time to do this.
Also, well, the con, it depends. So if we disable the reward, so if you claim, .com, you don't get any reward for doing that. It could hurt Handshake in the sense that it doesn't incentivize people to claim their Handshake domain. But as a pro, it could also help Handshake in the sense that people are no longer claiming the domains for the monetary gain, but rather for the gain of technology. So it's getting, the HNS and then cashing out, they're getting the domain, which hopefully they'll use. So depending on how you see it, it could help, it could hurt. I mean, I can't tell the future. Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to make a case. We're almost kind of maybe transcribe this discussion into three separate proposals. First one, I think, and also and some people are not familiar. Of course, how do we make changes is always a question. So normally it's a GitHub proposal that's submitted, and people comment and like or not that proposal. And if it looks like there's not any really huge objections and enough consensus, it's not like Ethereum or other proof of stake where there's votes on chain with holders. There's not really a way to do that.
At the end, there will be. So first of all, we do get the community as a whole to vote on the changes, and then we will actually write the code for the changes. We will then do tests on the code, make sure it actually sits, work. Get some developers to do a very quick audits, not like official, but they're just going to, make sure it doesn't do anything, too bad, doesn't introduce backdoors. And then we push it to a new HSD, Handshake Full Node, a new version of that. And then the miners will probably, especially if it's hard fork, they have the option of basically upgrading or not. And because it's a hard fork, it means that all the miners need to change their rules at the same time. So if the miners disagree, that will create problems. So, for example, if half the miners don't agree with the changes because it's a hard fork, it means that any blocks that are made by miners that don't agree or do agree, if they have claims in them, they are incompatible with each other. So it will create flicks, chain. Basically, it'll fork the blockchain pro. Instead of being a nice one line of history, it'll create alternate histories. So that's why we need miners to approve it. And that's basically that's the only approval that is, well, that approval, if it doesn't happen, will create problems. So
okay.
Yeah.
And again, I think just to, hopefully this has been informative and educative to people, because this is proof of, which is mining. which is,
Yes.
of course, Bitcoin is still proof of work mining. So similar in the Bitcoin ecosystem, the miners have to upgrade the code. If they don't take the upgrade, then it would essentially create two different chains.
So because this is a hard fork as in, hard fork means that blocks, so transaction, they put into the blocks. If the block is made with the new version of the code and it applies these changes, because a hard fork, it means that these blocks are incompatible with the old rules. So if there's a hodgepodge of people using different rules, because they don't agree on the rules, it will mean the block are counted as invalid by some handshake nodes. So that basically is how a hard fork is different from a soft fork. With a soft fork, the blocks are still valid with older versions of the code.
Great. Okay, so maybe we'll go to the third one, which is the most kind of debatable, but I feel like there has been closer to consensus. And I was sent a link to a GitHub proposal that does have a decent amount of input in number 69, and I'm adding it to its HIP discussion. Well, proposal 69, burn, baby, burn. And this is about what we said, mostly focus on the third part, which is just simply burning unclaimed GitHub airdrop. That's basically one that has gotten some heated discussions last year. And I don't know if Nathan, do you want to give us a summary and then I'll bounce back on it? I think you already explained it. It's basically burning it so there's no more GitHub. The 2019 snapshot of GitHub developers, like you said, had 20-something followers and other maybe requirements can no longer claim, but I don't think they've been claiming. That's already 5 or 6 years ago now. They're not really claiming anymore. So there's been this, basically, for those that weren't here, last year there was a lot of discussion. Some people were making proposals saying that we should just take the money and give it to various community members for development or marketing or other uses. And it got a little bit heated, and there was a very strong group that were against taking the airdrop and allocating it to others. And it led to a discussion to just burn it so that there's no more of this discussion at all, and it's just gone, right?
Yeah. So the burn baby burn proposal? It incorporates a lot of different things, unfortunately. So it's got everything. It's got burning the airdrop, burning the domain claim rewards, and also re-record, adding domain records into the one proposal. So that's a little bit hard. So the airdrop part, it's basic. Developers need to claim it with their SSH key that was linked to their GitHub account. So a lot of developers have poor security practice and still have the same SSH key, but they shouldn't. So a lot of developers could claim it, but we haven't really seen any claims recently. So the idea is if we stop the claims of the airdrop, that will stop a bit of the uncertainty with the handshake supply, because there's such a huge amount allocated to this airdrop.
Okay. So I guess I can just say some of the counter arguments against the burning. I always try my best. Maybe I'm not always neutral, but I at least try to get both sides. But there are there is still somewhat of a vocal side that says don't burn. And they say this because, they say we're in a bull market now and it will look like we are quote unquote money grabbing or burning to reduce supply to pump the coin price. And that it might make it look bad publicly that we're doing this. So that was somebody, and he says he's a big holder. It's hard to verify, but he says he's been a long-term large coin holder. He says if we had done this in the bear, it would have been more acceptable, but it's doing it in what he calls the bull, which looks more like a manipulation of the price and would be...
If anything, it'll change the price to make Handshake smaller, because we're removing the total supply. So that means that we are removing, basically the market cap will go down, because market cap is, the coin price times the total supply. So if we shorten the total supply, it'll make the market cap lower.
Okay. Yeah, let's give this 10 more minutes. I think an hour and a half is long enough for Twitter Space, but I think I'm not hearing much feedback, but back to the proposal 69, which I believe Anne is linking. It has all three of these parts, and if you look at the proposal, it has, I think, 84% positive feedback, if I'm recalling correctly. And it seems like the majority of those and it had up to a 90% over time at certain times. So it seems like, and this is HNS broker really seems to be pushing for this a lot. I've actually met. He's very nice, and I consider him a friend at this point. He's very passionate about this. He's very against any kind of allocation to any kind of like foundations or any kind of groups. So he says by burning it, we'll just get rid of that discussion because it's up almost on an annual basis for since Handshakes existed.
Yeah. So if we remove the option changing the airdrop claim to be a community fund, well, the community fund for such a huge amount of supply, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's I think it's greater than 50% of the supply is to the airdrop. So it's a huge amount of supply. If we give that to a fund, it doesn't look very good in the sense that all the funds are owned by one entity, which as a decentralized blockchain doesn't really work very well.
I don't want to interrupt, but I mean, I think that ship has sailed. I'm not trying to say I'm for it, but it wasn't one fund. It was two various groups, and Sky Include was mentioned. I'll just say it. I'm not, and some. Again, I didn't put ourselves there, but we were. But I don't think it was ever like saying all to one person or entity.
It'll be owned. Well, it'll be owned. A multi-sig was the idea, or a DAO.
I think there was various forms of it, but I think that it seems like it's just not possible, at least in the community over the last 4 years, to have something like that in any form approved. So this one is burning it to just stop that conversation from coming up and getting rid of this uncertainty in the community and getting rid of it. So I mean, the only reason I'm somewhat maybe against it, maybe I'm not saying I am, is there's the other side of people saying it looks like it's just a way to pump the price and artificially pump the price. That's my only thought on the against side, and it might look bad public optics is my only point to bring up. But I feel like the community wants it to happen.
Yeah, I think it's better to remove the coins from the circulation. Well, not circulation, from the total market, the total coin supply, if they're not going to actually be created ever. And the way I see it is, at the moment, 95 or even 99% of the airdrop for the developers is never going to be claimed. So there's not really any point having unclaimed or unclaimable, even though they are claimable, but they're never going to be claimed. So there's no point in the total supply. That's how I see it.
No, I'm not saying. I mean, I don't like looking at it. If you go to CoinGecko or whatever coin platform, it's still got that mass. And then if in other projects, I'll be honest, me myself as a look, quote unquote investor, as in retail, whatever you want to call it, looking at it, if I see a coin with a massive unlocked supply, I just normally wouldn't even look at it because it means it's like insiders, they're going to dump on me, right? Or unlocks coming. So I think a lot of maybe people that don't know the intricacies of Handshake think like, oh, wow, it's like massive unlock is going to get dumped on me. Why would I buy this, right? So if that's gone, those people would say, okay, wow, this is a small coin, yes, but it has this very specific utility and it's been around a while and it's got its, developer and decentralized community. It looks better.
Yeah. And that'll mean that the total supply would just be the circulating supply plus the minor rewards.
Minor rewards, yep. Okay, so we just have a few more minutes left. Kept this an hour and a half. So if anybody, at the 1 hour mark, I think is when we started to talk about this various forks. So then, Nathan, can we just summarize? Should we make another proposal in GitHub or 69? It's funny, it's number 69, but HIP 69 has 84% approval. I know you said you'd rather split it into 3, but then maybe technically it can be 3, but as far as a governance, could it just be 1 and then we just develop it in 3 parts? I mean, are you talking from a technical or a governance, or both in your idea to make it 3?
From my knowledge of, from just looking around and just listening into various conversations, it looks like the community supports all of these different proposed steps in broad. I mean, there are quite a few people who disagree with certain parts, but I think in general, everybody agrees on all 3 of the different steps. So what I would suggest is we do a proposal for each step, and as we get approval for that step, then we get the code written for that. So that way we get approval directly before start code on that part.
Can you maybe just be more I mean, you are technical, but give me the technical. You mean is it 3 separate GitHub proposals?
Yeah, so basically I would say I would leave off for the GitHub proposal. Well, so only put in a proposal as we are just about to start the development for it. So, for example, we will put in a proposal for disabling claims and disabling the claim reward. When we get approval for that proposal, then we write the code, push it, wait for the miners to approve, apply the changes, and the new rules are in place. And then we create the next proposal. When that gets approval, we do the next fork. So it's in steps. That way, the community is more involved in the process. It's not a, hey, community, agree to this whole ton of changes we're about to do, overwhelm the community, the members on what they're actually doing, and then go push a change, push a change, push a change, push a change. It's better to have the community involved in each of these steps.
Okay. I see a new speaker up, our OG Stephen Mackey. Do you have some input? I like to hear your insights. You're muted if you're.
Yeah. Okay, I guess this is a 2-part kind of reply to every thus far. But first, hey everybody, because I've been kind of gone for a year and a half. But essentially, the fact that you're still having this conversation in these kind of small room chats. It's good that people are still sort of trying to push things together. And I like what Nathan's saying about making the rollout multi-steps. Also, just because from the safety of pushing something proposal wise to the chain, pretty much all major changes have been made from the same group of people that have been familiar with the Beacon Handshake code base a long time, like Nodec, for instance. So I definitely think that the right way to get the appropriate social rough consensus, even though as time has gone on, I don't really believe in rough consensus. I've read quite a few papers about that over the years, but effectively, since the community is still so small, yeah, it makes sense to break it apart. I mean, the thing that is really deterring most people from Handshake is not that the technology isn't good, not that it's not interesting. I do agree that we still should have been able to leave records on chain, especially since that was the original plan. Then there was a gentleman by the name of Mike Dan. Ironically, his name is Mike Dan, that I introduced to JJ, and because he was a domain expert and actually helped JJ with some other design stuff early on, as far as mimicking DNS, as concretely as he could. And he was the one that suggested to take the records out of putting those on chain, because in addition to the test net, you could. So actually, if you actually go back far enough and compile and run one of the old test net versions of Handshake, you'll be able to put those records and stuff on chain. All that code actually exists too. So basically, I am under the firm belief that Handshake has been in a very kind of pivotal point for quite some time. It's coming up slowly on its second halvening. It has not gone through price discovery like any other previous all-time highs. Don't really count. That's like when Zcash first launched, and the first Zcash was mined, and it was sold for a few $1,000s. And Zcash has never reached that same price parity once again. So the 82 cents, 50 plus cents that Handshake has had as previous all-time, it doesn't even really count, because that was less than a few $100,000 worth of volume, and not as much of that asset was liquid beyond being sold at the time. So the real all-time highs, I guess would be like more of a median price, and for the longest time that's probably somewhere between like 15 cents if I had to guess. So unless you can have a price speculative point that gets people to like make some fast money, then no one's going to continue to look in this direction, because otherwise development costs have to come out of either US dollar or through the pockets of money that people have made from another chain. And reallocating the airdrops and all that stuff. Glad we move away from that idea, because it is in fact a terrible idea. You can't give away something that's worth nothing. But yeah, so I'm bullish still, like on the long term, but I am kind of just disheartened because I feel like the technical leaders in the handshake space that are the most familiar with the protocol just seem kind of jaded and distanced from the chain itself. So there's still some developer on ramping and onboarding that has to like happen to get some new faces around, but it's going to be a very long time before those faces can be trusted, like pushing like actual code to the main repo. So ultimately, like I remain positive about what goes on in the future, but there needs to be a radical face that steps up to kind of lead things. And the last young face that led things was Shun from Namebase, and he of course just followed the money and ran off and chased that elsewhere. So, and now basically left everyone with this almost a stillborn baby that isn't really fully developed, and no one's kind of put it on life support to kind of like bring it back to life. And it's gonna require either a lot of time and effort, not just marketing wise, but also just need new faces. And as of right now, there's not much of an incentive. But that's about all I have. About all I have to say.
Okay.
Wish it was more poignant.
No, thanks, Stephen. I appreciate always your insights, and thank you for sharing. I think we are wrapping up, and it's but I just still feel like the burn is mostly approved, and it is a radical change, in my opinion. I don't know, and the other parts, it's just Nathan's talking about the technicality of making it 3 separate things, but I still feel like those 3 are just already approved in that HIP 69, and then we have a push ahead. I mean, I also think while we could say about the percentage of approval, it's also about who is approving what, right? Like if the core developers or the core contributors are for it, then I'm for it, which I feel like most are. I don't even know any core contributors. I don't know if Nathan or others know. So and we have HandyCon, which is always a good excuse. It's like 5 weeks away. So maybe I was talking to Handshake Jesus. Maybe we could kind of line something up for some kind of decision and change by HandyCon in early March, which would make sense.
If my first effort would be to try to get anyone that has pushed code to HSD over the past 2 years and just try to get them together to have like an open discussion where everybody else can hear it so they can talk about these ideas. Like, so that's like Nodar, excuse me, I said Nodec before, Nodar, and of course JJ. I'm not else is pushing things to HSD right now. I'm pretty sure it's just Nodar. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure who's paying for his development, but I think it might still be Andrew Lee, but I could be very wrong there. But that's my
I think
first.
it's Namebase.
No,
Oh, it's Namebase?
Nodar is in our team at Namebase.
Oh, cool. So yeah, so basically like Nodar, but like there also has to be a contributor that is not from a for-profit like organization around too, because you don't want to seem like it's annoying, but you don't want to give this perception of this like developer like capture from like entity, just because the old school Bitcoiner ethos that is like in the air, in the spirit of like Handshake, will treat that as like an autoimmune response and like really like act up against that. So yeah, it's just getting those collaborators together in a room. And if you could even just on record get JJ to admit that he is willing to be open to technically proficient experimentation and options, and have people hear that and know that that's the case, then you'll a lot more headway too. But I know he's very busy with Warp. I'm not sure where the development is on that and etc. But hopefully everything will work out in the best for everyone if everyone just keeps trying to like push these discussions.
Great. I think it's good homework. I mean, Nathan's chatting to me. He says he can try to find out. At least I'm
just
not.
having a look at the GitHub commits. We've got Nodec basically as the sole contributor for the last 2 years, with maybe 3 or 4 commits from Vic and a couple from Pinheads. That was about 2 years ago. So pretty much only Nodec.
If you can get, because I know Pinhead can be a little bit difficult with Matthew, but if you can get him speaking at the exact same time that JJ is and both agree, you pretty much have what you need from, of course they're going to say the same things like be prudent, we got to be careful about this, you know what I mean, like we have to honor decentralization. You're going to get you're going to get that noise no matter what, but we got to get them in a room and then talk past that and move past that conversation. And sometimes they're developers, right? They're in this type of stuff all day, so it's just hard to pull your head out of those loops unless somebody really comes along. And since Handshake's quote unquote decentralized, like it's rather difficult to do that. So these are the personalities that we bless with, and we either have to like work with them or not really going to get anywhere.
Thanks, Stephen. I think this is a good place to wrap up. And the next Handshake Mastermind is Twitter Space. It's a monthly one. February 21st is Ann telling me. So, of course, nobody has to wait for that. But, of course, there's other community spaces and activities like Decentralizers with Santiago and others. So we don't have to wait for that. And, of course, there's HandyCon March 5th to the 7th, which could hopefully maybe even be a catalyst for some of these bigger changes. And that's just a few weeks, 5 weeks away. So maybe Nathan and others, I can also support with some of the input here and try to push this ahead.
Yeah, I think
what would be great is if we could get a handshake panel on HandyCon with some of the core developers. That would be really good.
Yeah, it's also important to start branding these people for what they are. That that they are core developers of like the pro. So so in a way, kind of like honoring the work that they've like put in and the position that they're kind of had to be put into like okay these types of major changes. Yeah, I think over the next like 5 weeks, like this is for the best case scenario and for the highest likelihood of success. Like it's either sort of kind of a make or break it over the next like few months on whether or not this will actually ever push through or it'll just remain stale in the water.
Yeah, I mean they are pretty much the only people looking at the code. Like I was in an actual room with you and had a show of hands for who's actually looked at the code. Maybe 1 hand, 2 hands. Like nobody's got a clue how Handshake runs. So if we don't have Nodec, what's good, people go and update HSD.
Yeah,
they have no clue what they're updating.
Yeah, exactly, Nathan. Yeah, that's and early on, I understand why a lot of developers were hesitant with bringing people on, just because too, there's a lot of people that were kind of just like around, but weren't really making those direct technical contributions, but they were steering the conversation, and I could see how that would probably get pretty annoying. So it probably created some distance there too. But yeah, I think it's a good period of time for repair, and I believe in you guys, and I think you guys can do it.
Great.
Yeah, we should do a community poll sometime. Ask what language is HSD written in? Just to give a check.
It's Ruby.
Anyways, I guess we'll see you, everybody, on the 21st?
Yeah, this
Mastermind
hosted Handshake Mastermind is scheduled for I think the 20th, depending on which side of the world. I think 20th Thursday, February 20th U.S. time, 21st, Australia, Asia time.
I just wanted to say 2 things. I agree with Steven that we need to core developers for sure. I talk with Nothar weekly, so I'll convince him to join the space next month, but it needs to be a bit sooner because he's in Europe and this is a bit late for him.
Yeah, we can change it doesn't have to be this space either. It could be a separate meeting or other kind of thing.
Okay. Let's.
But I recall his feedback in this heated discussion last year. I don't think was for the reallocation. I think he was more for. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that was my recollection.
I'll talk to you offline about this, but we can definitely get him on one of these.
Okay, great.
Like this.
Sounds
All
good. So catch you all around.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of the week.
Yep.
Thanks,
See ya.
guys.